You're very welcome back to the Daily Rundown. Now, a new report says that only 1 in 3 people who visit a GP surgery are ill enough to need to see the doctor, and many of the remainder could do with a talk just with a practice nurse instead. It concludes letting nurses deal with more ailments could free up enough GP time to allow them to offer patients appointments lasting up to 20 minutes. But the Royal College of GPs said shortages of nurses meant such a shake-up could not happen. So should we be seeing more of our nurse than our GP? You had a great story.
Yes, I was at my practice yesterday and I had an ECG conducted by a nurse. So I didn't need to go to hospital. I thought that was very efficient. And then the machine which took the sort of measurement was downloaded, as it were. The results were downloaded to the hospital where they were analysed immediately and the result given. I thought that was very effective and efficient. And
that was all while you were sitting there?
Well, I was still lying there, actually. I hadn't even got up, you know. I mean, she wanted me to stay there in case they had to do it again or something, you know.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was good. No, I fully understand this point of view. Fair enough. The only problem is that when you're a patient and you're making an appointment, you can't tell, can you, for yourself very easily, what sort of level of professional you need to see. You know?
Well, I think what they would end up doing is, this is me just completely making this up, but based on some of the other NHS practices, like, and you know, if you've ever been to an emergency dentist, they've been on the phone, they say, I'm just going to you just need to answer this questionnaire, and they determine based on your answers. And they can actually say at the end, I'm sorry, you don't actually qualify for an emergency dentist today. You have the NHS website that does something similar for you. It helps you kind of go through your symptoms. So I wonder, would it be kind of implemented that way, that there'd be someone on the phone to you saying...
A triage system.
Something like this, something like a triage system, exactly. I think now a big question is, though, would you, if you felt I want to see the doctor, would you be happy to be sort of palmed off on the nurse, though? I think that might be a big issue.
As long as they are completely capable of what they're doing and they're professional.
You know, but you know the way somebody
this is already happening, though, isn't it? It's already happening to a certain extent.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a certain amount of duties are, I don't know, maybe prescription. No, it's not prescription. I don't know, but I know there's certain things you can just go to the nurse for.
I've certainly been to the doctors and found myself in front of a nurse and not the doctor. Not realised.
I have been.
I have been.
And if, you know, sometimes I think, well, it's okay. But other times I think, no, I really do need to see the doctor.
You'd rather see the doctor.
Yeah.
So would that be something that you'd like to weigh up yourself, or would you kind of, your first choice would be the doctor, and it depends on how bad you felt, I'll take it this time, but I'd actually...
I don't know, really.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you just, you know, in your head, you just have that word doctor, and you just think, you know,
Can I see the doctor?
That's who you're going to see.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, you know, if you go in and you say, can I have an appointment? And they say, well, if it's the doctor you want, you have to wait like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah. True, yeah.
But we can fit you in with nurse such and such like today or tomorrow.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see a statistic or something of who would actually, you know, do that. Who would go?
Divvy that up,
who would
basically,
go? Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll go to the nurse, or I'll wait.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what about this shortage of nurses? Obviously, is going to put a kind of damper on the whole plan anyway. So that, I mean, that's an issue right at the moment. And I think
that's another government balls up, to be honest, if I'm allowed to use that word. I mean, the reality is they've known for years that they've been, you know, cutting back on nurse training and not delivering the appropriate number. And they're quite happy instead to take nurses from Commonwealth countries, very often countries that don't have a national health service, who can't really afford to lose their nurses. So I think that's all bad. I'm not happy with that at all.
Bad management of that as well.
Bad management.
I mean, with so many nurses and you know, like, as you obviously in the middle of the junior doctors issue as well, we know they're leaving, but the nurses are also, they're going elsewhere, aren't they? They're going, you know, where maybe there's better pay and different kind of conditions as well. So the ones that are here, they're already pretty stretched, I think. So I can't imagine.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's a plan that needs a good bit more sort of working out.
And when you've got someone working on you, or when it's, you know, possibly life-threatening, you want someone on the top of their game. Yeah. You don't want someone stretched out, just knackered.
Yeah, that's right. Which a lot of our doctors are. Yeah. Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see how that will be rolled out. Right, then let's move to our last story of the day. Labour MP Dennis Skinner has been thrown out of Parliament for labelling the Prime Minister Dodgy Dave over his personal finances. The member for Bolsover was asked twice to withdraw the jibe made during a House of Commons statement on the Panama Papers revelations by Speaker John Bercow. But Mr Skinner twice declined, leading Mr Bercow to ask Mr Skinner to withdraw from the chamber for the rest of Monday on the ground of unparliamentary language. What do you think of this? Is this a sign of the crackdown on immature behaviour in Parliament, which we have been seeing a lot of recently? Even down so far to like your mama jokes almost. They've gone down that road.
Yeah.
Or is there something else going on here? What do you think?
No, it's the same. It's been going. This is the same as been going on for years, isn't it?
Is it?
I mean, he was the guy memorably who once stood up and said, "Half the Tories are crooks."
Yeah.
And the Speaker said, "Withdraw that. You know, that's an offensive." He said, "Okay, half the Tories aren't crooks," which was brilliant because it means the same.
Yeah.
People love characters like this kind of shaking things. So I mean, he's a bit of an institution.
And he said, you just feel as though he's really saying what he believes. Which is hard when you look at politicians. That's always a really hard thing. And I think Corbyn's had a similar thing, and that's why some people latched onto him. And because he just does look like he's genuinely telling the truth, and genuinely he does care about this stuff. While with some of them, it doesn't seem like that. It just feels like forced. Just
is that why you think so? Even if you didn't really agree with Dennis Skinner's policies or whatever, that sincerity and sort of passion for just saying what he wants to say, that's kind of makes him very likeable, doesn't it?
And he stood up for himself, and he was willing to just leave, and he was willing to get chucked out.
The video,
he's
the
probably
clip
been chucked out before a few times.
He's used to it.
I feel like, what is he? He's getting on now, isn't he? He's been there a while. What age is he?
He's got to be in his 70s, easy. But I mean, I am actually not very happy about Parliament because it is too much of a sort of a game of ping pong, throwing insults against. To begin with, I'd like to see proportional representation and around a Parliament, a circular chamber with gradations of different parties and people behaving a bit more sort of rationally and sensibly and politely. You can disagree with somebody profoundly, without calling them their their honesty into account.
Or slagging off their clothes. Or slagging off the clothes that they're wearing, which was the most hilarious for me. I kind of thought... I hadn't really seen... I hadn't really seen a Parliament carry on like that until I saw that Cameron and Corbyn... Since Jeremy Corbyn became the Labour.
I mean, the Irish Dáil has proportional representation, and they don't sit in two rows facing each other, do they?
No. That's what I think physically it's set up.
Proper Parliament.
Yeah, I think it's physically set up for that, as you said, sort of mudslinging, back and forward, ping pong.
And it's physically set up for a sort of the class warfare, the Labour against the Tory.
Exactly.
Which is so boring. We don't live in that sort of age any longer.
Why isn't it changing? Why hasn't it been changed, do you think?
Because we're a conservative country. We can't, I mean, I don't know. Why don't we change? Every other European country has a proper parliament. We don't. And not only that, the majority of our parliamentarians aren't even elected. It's something like 700 or 800 in the House of Lords. They're not elected at all. And then in the House of Commons, they're not elected by, something that's reasonably democratic. So you end up with a government that's rarely has more than about 35% support.
Do you think you'd like a full shake-up by the sounds of it?
I would. I would.
Led by Dennis Skinner, maybe.
I'm not all that in favour of Dennis Skinner. I enjoy the comedy of Dennis Skinner.
I think I'd
like a serious reform of our. We need a new great reform bill. Like we had in 1832, and then there was another one in 1867. And we need another one to actually introduce some sort of decent democracy.
I think even David Cameron looks like he was enjoying the exchange. To be fair, I think he was even a bit tickled, rather than he didn't seem like he took massive offence.
Well, that's right. It's a to and fro. It's a game for them, but it's not a game for us. We have to suffer. Their sort of antics.
That is the thing, and the immaturity. It does when you watch it. It does come across as like a load of kids in school, or you have memories of school of people just shouting sort insults back and forth. And that whole filibustering thing, or filibustering, whatever it is, when they say that people are just, they're just talking
out something
over and over until the time limit goes up or whatever it is. And that's just, if that is a real thing, you know, that's completely...
It doesn't happen most of the time in our parliament because there are time limits, except on private members, I think.
I was going to say that sometimes though you do see, you know, parliaments in other countries, especially, I think there was, maybe it was maybe it was the Russian Parliament, I can't remember, but they have actual punch-ups.
Yes.
You know, you see those brawls.
That's right,
the Italian Parliament, actually. I think there's been a few with the Italians, They love it. I mean, like we've obviously not had anything like that here.
But it looks like we're on the verge of it, doesn't it?
Yes.
When you watch Parliament like that, you just think, how much can Corbyn take? He's being cool. And just at any minute, he's just going to grab a book and just chuck it in David Cameron's face or something.
Which would be highly entertaining. But obviously, as Guy said, we're not watching it for entertainment.
No. It's people's lives. It's society.
And there is that kind of element to it. And the saddest thing for me about the Corbyn and Cameron exchange from a few months ago is that I do feel like Jeremy Corbyn's dressing a little bit slicker now. I feel like he took it to heart somehow. Do you not think so?
Yeah, probably did.
He's just kind of looking a little bit.
His advisors probably said, "Look, you know, you're now leader of the Labour Party. You've got to actually sort of up your ante a bit, you know."
Yeah, but it must be so annoying though. You know, when he shows up and Cameron's, you know, probably thinking, so he took that on board. Now, obviously, I told him that his gear wasn't good enough. Would you ever see how would they even turn this around though? This kind of mentality or this atmosphere in the Parliament though?
But, I think it's structural because they're physically like that. You know, and we've got first past the post, so we have two main parties. You know, it's inevitably confrontational. Yeah. Not very helpful, not constructive, not a rational way to do it. Which is why I really like the way that the Irish Parliament and, you know, the German parliaments and all these kind of parliaments have it right.
It feels a bit more balanced.
Yeah, much more sensible, grown-up politics.
So all they need is to get someone in there to do a bit of feng shui on the Parliament.
I like that. Yeah, feng shui.
Get the energy right.
Yeah, well, actually,
sort all the problems.
The reality is that the whole Palace of Westminster is a problem because whenever I've been there, and I've visited a number of times, you know, you're surrounded by history. Yeah. There's a Battle of Cressy, you know, over there, and there's Agincourt over there, and all these figures from and they're living in a museum. Yeah. You know, and what effect is that having on their mentality?
Oh, Guy, it sounds like you want to get in there and declutter.
I want to turn the whole place into a museum.
Give it a makeover.
Move them out and have a proper modern, like the Scottish do, a decent parliament with, you know, in modern technology. You know, when they vote, they troop into. They're voting. You know, they have to walk somewhere.
Yeah, they could literally do it on their phones, couldn't they?
Yeah. I mean, brilliant. Stockport is more advanced. Stockport Council. I was at Stockport Council, you know, recently, and they sit, you know, in a round. There's 3 or 4 parties. You know, it's not proportional representation, but it's much more rational. When they vote, they press a button and it comes up on a screen. You know. Oh, that's the next project for you, Guy. Get in feng shui House of Parliament. Do a bit of decluttering. Thanks very much for that, gentlemen. We're going for another break now. When I come back, I'm going to be speaking with Gary Howard. He's a forensic professional, so don't miss that.